welcome back to my channel. I am doing my favorite type of video to film. Well, I say my favorite type. This and my monthly favorites is by far, both of those are my favorite to film. But this is another foundation review, and I posted a picture on Instagram. If you're not following me on Instagram, be sure and do so. I always put my handle down below. I put a picture of this when I got sent this foundation, and Octoly and Givenchy sent me 3 of the Photo Perfexion Fluid Foundation with sunscreen, and those are the colors right there. They sent me 4 Perfect Vanilla, 5 Perfect Praline, and 6 Perfect Honey. So I used 6 Perfect Honey in the demo, but this is the 3 that they sent me. This is not a new foundation. Okay, from what I understand, it's been around for quite some time, but it was something that I hadn't tried. So I was very ecstatic when I opened this package and saw this, because I have always wanted to try a Givenchy foundation and I never have. So it comes in this nice glass bottle. It is $51 and it is not quite an ounce. It is only 0.8 ounces, 25 milliliters, where normally foundations are 1 ounce and 30 milliliters. So you're getting a tad, I mean, I guess a fifth less than you would be getting. And it's still $51, but it's Givenchy. I mean, you're paying for the name. It's a luxury brand. It's a luxury product. It's a luxury price tag. It comes in 12 colors, which is not the most extensive color range by any means for a foundation. I feel like from what I've found, as you get more and more luxury, you get less and less colors, unfortunately. But it's kind of the way the cookie crumbles, at least the way I have encountered personally. So real quick I'm looking at the Sephora app to see the claims of the foundation. It says it has a medium to full coverage, skin type normal, combination or oily, finish natural, SPF 20. The SPF consists of octinoxate, which is chemical, and titanium dioxide, which is physical. And it says it's a naturally flawless fluid foundation for a luminous complexion. A foundation with excellent coverage and a completely natural result for a smooth, even, luminous, and fresh complexion. Inspired by digital imaging, Photo Perfexion Foundation recreates the perfect skin quality obtained with touch-ups while remaining completely natural. Givenchy's exclusive Skin Perfector Complex acts like an eraser to minimize the look of imperfections. Lighting Complex adjusts the luminosity to the contours of the face to blur irregularities, imperfections, and fine lines as if by magic. I mean, that's some pretty strong claims, Givenchy. Let's see if you live up to them. It does come with a pump, standard pump. Like I said, glass packaging, plastic top. So I have a lot to say about this foundation, and I'm sure this is going to be 20 minutes or longer. I mean, it's a video by me. What do you expect? This is not pajamas, and you know, it's actual clothes. It's a nice little lace tank top. I'm just burning up, so just so you know. So we're gonna cut into the demo real quick, and then I have so much to say about this foundation, so let's just get. Okay, so the first thing we're gonna do is prime. And I have, before I did my eye makeup, I have the Smashbox primer water and the ordinary squalene oil under my eyes. I always try to link those when I use them, and I use those when I do my skincare a lot earlier than I do my makeup. So it's already like 11 o'clock. Today was, Courtland is my oldest. I know I always say oldest and youngest, but her name is Courtland. She's 8, and she just started 3rd grade today. So it was her first day of 3rd grade, so I just didn't have time trying to get used to this whole school schedule again. I didn't have time to do my makeup earlier, so it's been a while since I did my skincare. Now I'm going to go in with my primer. I'm using a sample packet because the full size I have of this lives in my kit. And it's the Hourglass Mineral Veil Primer. I have not tried. I decided after all the love y'all gave me on my Bare Minerals foundation review about, you know, understanding and appreciating the fact that some foundations don't work with some primers, I decided to not use a primer and powder that I've already used with this foundation. I do have a favorite primer and powder with it, which I will go into later, but I decided to use something different just to see one more time. Who knows, this might become my favorite. I don't think so, because my favorite's really good, but we'll see. So I'm gonna try this one because I haven't yet. And I mean, I use maybe a quarter of the packet. You need so little of this primer. And I just went out of focus again. It tries to catch my hands. Okay, so I'm gonna go in, oh no, I'm going to color correct really quick with my Dermacolor Camouflage Cream. And this is in the color D30. I know it's the very orange cream. I've been liking this lately. Now we're going to go in with the foundation. I know I look so cute right now. And I'm going to use the color 6 Perfect Honey. So this is kind of my summer shade. And I'm sure I've already shown you, but it does come with a pump. I'm a little splotchy down here from my self tanner. Let me see if I can get rid of that real quick because that is not cute. Now I'm just going to be red, but oh well, that's better. Okay, so as far as the application, I find that this foundation works perfectly fine with a brush or a sponge. I don't really have a preferred way to apply it. So it works good with either one. I've tried the It Cosmetics Flawless Foundation brush, and I've tried my Ray Morris Radiance brush, the big paddle brush, and I've tried a sponge, and they all work great. So today I'm just going to use a sponge. So I'm going to take, this is 3 pumps, which to me is not that much. It's kind of equivalent to 2 pumps of another foundation because the pumps just don't put out a lot of product. So we're just going to apply this like I normally do. I've already talked about how it includes fragrance. I don't smell anything. I don't have a sensitive nose though, so keep that in mind. If you are sensitive, you may very well smell something, but unless I'm pregnant, I don't have a sensitive nose. And Lord willing, I'm not ever going to be pregnant again. I love my kiddos, but I don't want another one. Okay, so not paying attention to the forehead. This is just probably a third of what I had on my hand, maybe not even that much, with the foundation and without the foundation. So obviously the color is different because I'm trying to match my body, and this color is actually pretty good right now. Obviously I'm gonna have to take some down on my neck because the self tanner it just doesn't attach to my neck. So it does match my shoulders and my chest perfectly. So this is the redness that I have that's not been covered, and this is covered. I think right off the bat it has a good solid like light to medium or medium coverage. It does tend to get a tad bit darker after you apply it. And I mean a tad. I'll show it to you on my hand and show you. I don't know if you're going to be able to tell the difference from when I first put it on my hand, but it is a little bit. I don't think it's a shade darker. I don't think that if you have trouble with oxidization, I don't think it's going to keep you from buying this foundation. I just do want to mention it. So I'll go down with my bronzer and stuff later, but that right there. I had a little bit more redness on this side, so it's not covering up it up as much, but I'm going to go in with just a little bit more and show you how it builds up. And I'm just going to put it where my redness is the most prominent, which is just right here on my cheeks. Tap it in lightly, and it builds up nicely. I mean, really nicely. I'm happy with how that builds up. And just to use up what's on my hand, I'm going to put a little bit more. I don't need more coverage on my forehead, but I hate to waste product. Okay, so that's the full face with the foundation on. Honestly, it looks good. It looks like my skin. I don't feel like, and I don't know how it's coming across on camera. I won't know until I edit it. I don't feel like it has a luminous finish to it. I don't feel like it's dewy. I don't feel like it makes me look shiny in any way. I feel like it looks like skin does. Skin looks like this. If you pay attention to what your skin looks like when you wake up in the morning, when your natural oils, even if you're dry, have had a chance to kind of accumulate overnight, I mean, it kind of looks like this. It just has a slight, very slight natural sheen to it, unless you're super oily. Obviously, it's going to have more of a sheen to it if you're super oily. But if you have normal to even combination skin, I mean, this is what your natural skin looks like. So it's just an even-toned version of skin. And honestly, that's all I want in my foundation, personally. I don't have a ton of problem spots. I still think that you could easily get away with this and just use concealer on your problem spots. That's what I suggest doing anyways. If you feel like you have problem skin, I still don't suggest going in with like a full coverage foundation. I think a lot of people feel most comfortable with that, but I think it looks more natural and presents the illusion that you have much better skin than you may have if you use a more natural looking foundation like this and just spot conceal. So let me see. It's not that tacky. It's a little tacky. It's not like, it's not matte by any means, and it's not a powder finish, but I have foundations that are much tackier than this when I apply them. So it's comfortable. If you have super dry skin, I think you probably would get away with not having to set this at all. I always set my foundations. And once I finish the rest of my makeup, I'll come back on, I'll tell you what powder I used, and then we'll go into the primers and powders that I use while testing this out, and then I'll come back at the very end of the night with a check-in. All right, so makeup is done, and I'm not gonna beat around the bush. I'm not gonna make you wait until the end. I freaking love this foundation. Love it. Love, love, love it. And because I have no idea what it's gonna look like at the end of the day with these products on it, I'm gonna go ahead and give you the primers and powders and stuff that I used with it now and tell you my favorite ones, and I'll let you know at the end of the day, obviously, if this ended up being my favorite one. But I did use the Urban Decay Velvetizer powder today. So that's what we're working with. Let me zoom you in. That's the skin with the foundation on it. Can you really ask for more? I feel like my pores look good. I don't know if that's the powder. You know what? It's the foundation. My pores have looked good every day I've worn this foundation. It's not caking anywhere. It's got the perfect amount of coverage for me. And like I said, everything went on top of it perfectly. So real quick, I tested this. This is the 4th day I've worn this foundation. So the first day I used my Touch and Soul No Problem Primer and my Chanel Loose Powder. So that was the first time I had ever tried this foundation. Y'all know I took notes. I'm such a note taker and a list maker. I just love it. I had it on for 9 hours that day, and my notes were it didn't get shiny or change at all during the day. Even though my skin is not oily, sometimes a more luminous or not super matte foundation, which is the majority of the foundations I own, do tend to get just a little bit shiny because, I mean, it's 100 degrees outside. You sweat. It's hot. So they tend to get a little bit shiny, and this one did not get shiny at all. I did go to the gym this day, and I put in big capital letters, it did not come off on the paper towels at the gym. I've said it so many times before, but I'm going to say it again. I blot all my sweat off at the end of my workout, and I always look at the paper towel if it's a new foundation I'm wearing, and not a stitch of foundation was on the paper towel. Nothing. It looked amazing after I worked out. It doesn't claim to be waterproof, but it really held up well through my sweat. And then the last note just said it looked wonderful at 11 p.m. when I took it off. And I also said that it smoothed out my pores, which I think you could tell when I did my close-up. It really does nice things for my pores. Now, again, this was a pore-filling primer, but I didn't use that every day. The next day, I wore my Color Science Bronzing Perfector Primer and my Clinique Invisible Blend Loose Powder. I had it on for about 10 hours this day. I went to the gym. Pores still look great. That's what I put on there. Held up great throughout the gym still. I put that it was a little bit more luminous that day, but it was nothing I felt like I needed to powder over. It still did not get to that point. So those are the notes I had with that day. And then yesterday was my all-time favorite look with this powder. I did not, or not powder, foundation. I did not want to wash my face last night. I just did not want to wash it. And it was the longest that I wore. So yesterday I used an illuminating primer, and I used the Cover FX illuminating primer. This is just a deluxe sample. But honestly, with how good it looked with this foundation, I think I'm going to buy the full size. Like, it's never looked as good with a foundation as it does with this one. So I used that, and then I used the Too Faced Born This Way powder. Now, I was very tempted to use this combination today because it looked so good, but I decided to do something a little bit different to see how it holds up throughout the day. But I'm not kidding. It was like the perfect amount of luminosity. It wasn't like, oh, okay, I look a little shiny, I need to touch up, because this could easily be construed as oil to someone else. No, it was, holy cow, you look like you have 18-year-old skin, even though you're about to be 37 years old, and you just got and running on the beach like Bo Derek in her dreads. Like, I don't even know how to explain how good it looked, but it looked good. It looked really good. So this is by far my favorite combination that I've tried so far with this foundation. So I'm going to stop talking. I'm going to go throughout my day. It's 11:30. Like I said, I'm getting a little bit of a late start today, but I'm not going to the gym today, but I do have have a lot of paperwork to do. I've got some errands to run, and then I have dinner with a friend tonight. So I will check in after that and show you how this foundation and the primer powder combination held up throughout the day. All right, y'all, we are back. It is 9 o'clock at night. So I've had the foundation on since I first applied it for probably about 10 hours. It's gonna be a really good wear test, even though I didn't do like an excessive amount of like hard work today as far as exerting myself or sweating for that matter, unless you know, count the nasty sweat you get when you put groceries in the trunk and pull them out of the trunk to take them inside when it's 100 degrees outside. I think I'm delirious. I'm so tired. All right, so I have had this foundation on for roughly 10 hours. Pretty good wear time. Y'all, I love this foundation. I love this foundation. Okay, so I meant to say earlier, and I know I've already touched on in the demo that it has fragrance, and I meant to say whether or not it has alcohol, and I don't see any, like, you should really be concerned about them alcohols on here, but, you know, you can always check out ingredients for yourself, see what you're happy with. I'm going to try to remember to do a flash photo test with this and let you know right down here whether or not it flashed back, because it does have an SPF 20 and it does also contain silica, and so titanium dioxide and silica can a lot of times cause flashbacks. So I'll try to remember to do that real quick before I wash my face here in just a second. But I just want to do a close-up and show you how well this stinking foundation held up. Now, I think it really did well with these two powders. I'm very happy with it. The velvetizer sometimes makes my face feel a little tight, but other than that, I think it looked great. I don't feel like it looked powdery at all. Like, I still think my pores look exactly the same as when I applied it. I have not touched up at all, so, you know, I didn't get it shiny at all. I don't think anything faded on top of it. Like my bronzer and my highlight, my blush are still pretty apparent. I understand this has fragrance, and I understand some people are sensitive to that. If you're not sensitive to it and you don't mind it, because it is where my fingernail is touching, that's where fragrance is. That's how far down the ingredient list is, so it's not like it's the third ingredient, just so you're aware of that. I cannot speak to you about how much I love this foundation. I still like it better. I mean, I still like the finish better with the Cover FX Illuminating and the Too Faced powder, but everything that I've tried it with, it works with. So it's not like the Bare Minerals where it's kind of finicky and it only works best with certain products. It's worked with everything I've tried it with really nicely. Like, I haven't disliked any of the products with it. I just like some more than the others as far as finish goes. I think that after the next top 5 I'm doing for August, I think my September top 5, even though I'm not through all the categories I want to get through, I think I'm going to do another top 5 foundation, because they've changed. They've changed. And this one is a contender. It's a real strong contender. Like, I am starting tomorrow to test the next foundation that I'm reviewing for y'all, and I kind of don't want to. Even though I'm sure it's going to be a great foundation, I kind of just want to keep wearing this one, which is insane because I have like 50 foundations, and to want to keep wearing this one says a lot about how much I love it. So, I don't know that there's really that much more to say about it. Y'all can visibly tell how well it wears on me, at least, and I really feel like this is going to work on all skin types. It says the claims that it's for like normal, combo, and oily, but I don't see why it wouldn't work for dry. Honestly, there's nothing about it that speaks to me that says like red light for dry skin. And there's really nothing that speaks to me that says red light for oily skin, especially since it claims to be that way. Now, I haven't taken photos in it, I don't think. Well, I took the photo for the thumbnail, but I haven't really inspected that yet. So I don't know how well it's like does for photo perfection and all the claims. All I know is that it does blur out what I want it to blur out, and it hides any imperfections that I want it to hide, and it has a natural finish like it states, and it lasts all day long. It's amazing how well this lasts. Through, I mean, not just today, but through workouts, anytime. It really is just it's so good. I'm sad that I waited this long to try it because I really, really love it. So if you're not sensitive to fragrance, I highly suggest this very expensive foundation. I'm sorry it's so expensive, but it is Givenchy, and it's worth it. Like, I know I was sent these foundations, but when I run out of my color, I do not see myself not repurchasing it. So you can rest assured that everything I've said is 150% true. Always will be, always has been. I recommend it. It's got my A+++ stamp of approval. I haven't been this excited about one. When was the last one I was this excited about? Since probably my Philosophy Skin Tint. Or my Bare Minerals. Like, that's how excited I am about this. So, yeah. Hopefully it's helped. If nothing else, try to find a sample somewhere. It really is good. So I'm going to link everything I have on my face down below, as I always do. If you haven't subscribed to me, please do, so you don't miss out on any future videos. Foundation videos are my favorite to film, and I've got a couple lined up, but if there's a specific foundation that you want to see me do a review on that you haven't already stated in the comments, because I do make lists from the comments. If there's one that you haven't already stated or that you haven't already seen and you want a review on it, be sure to let me know. I obviously can't get every foundation out there, but I do try to keep up. And the next one I'm reviewing is brand spanking new. So be on the lookout for that next week. And until then, I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you all have a very blessed day.